There's a movie that's starting, I guess it opens today, and Roger Ebert gives this thing 3 stars. Now, the only reason I'm doing this is because Ebert gives it 3 stars. Otherwise, I would have dismissed it immediately, but obviously it's must have documentary value to it. Because here's the way it starts. Elvis and JFK did not die, and today they're roommates in an East Texas nursing home. In this nursing home, the residents are being killed by an ancient Egyptian soul sucker named Bubba Ho-Tep. And he says, I want to deal with the delightful wackiness of this movie, which is endearing and vulgar in about the right proportion.
So he actually likes this dog of a movie?
Well, he says the movie doesn't exactly work, but sometimes when a car won't start, it's still fun to look at the little honey gleaming in the driveway. And it goes on to talk about the story where there's Elvis and there's JFK, and it's all a wacky story. Now, he gives it 3 stars. Gives it 3 stars. So I don't want to give this whole thing away, but he says Bubba Ho-Tep wants to be a good movie about Elvis, JFK, and the soul sucker. It doesn't sneer. It's not about cheap shots. It is perfectly sincere. There's no wink-wink kind of, hey, we know this is a put-on and we're making fun of. No. This is carried off straight, although there are laughs. It is a comedy, but it's an odd comedy.
All right, this one says, it gives it only 2 stars and says, sheer absurdity and creative audacity mate to produce this scatologically obsessed that means using words for fecal matter, etc. Of this adaptation of this short story. That it's kind of wacky.
All right. It can be wacky.
Yeah,
Sorry to be wacky.
The whole preposterous premise is wacky.
Okay. Speaking of wacky, Caterpillar in Peoria has sued to block next week's release of Disney's George of the Jungle 2, alleging that this movie, which is a direct-to-a-DVD movie...
Which means loser.
...damages the Caterpillar's reputation because apparently the movie ties Caterpillar to, quote, an evil attacking army, unquote, of industrialists seeking to destroy the jungle.
They use it as a symbol.
So Caterpillar is hooked up with this evil army that wants to destroy George of the Jungle's jungle, and so a Caterpillar doesn't like that. They're being portrayed as evil, and so...
So the Peoraites
see how that works.
Are all freaked out.
There's George.
About George of the Jungle.
George of the Jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree.
Who wanted us to give a disclaimer? Disney is a parent company to WLS.
That's correct.
Right.
Thank you. So does that mean we are relatives of George of the Jungle? Could be.
Right. Soundbite of the day, before we go any further, quickly, the soundbite of the day, so that nobody forgets, is President Bush, who met with Arnold Schwarzenegger yesterday. The president talked about how much he and Arnold have in common. That would be Bush Cut 1.
We both married well. Some accuse us both of not being able to speak the language.
All right. Several other things on the menu here.
By the way, the ferry captain is still in critical condition after having slashed his wrist and shot himself twice in the chest with a pellet gun.
Yeah.
So that is, and there are people
You're
wishing...
talking about the pilot.
Yes, the ferry pilot.
Yeah.
And much is now being heaped on the ferry captain, who was supposed to have been
on the bridge.
Yes, on the bridge, while the other guy was at the helm, but he was supposed to have been there. Both of them are supposed to be there until the boat is secured.
Yeah.
And he instead was at the other end of the boat, the ferry boat.
He was not where he was supposed to be.
So,
and the other guy collapsed, apparently, on the controls.
Because of medication. They say the pilot was not drunk. The ferry pilot was not drunk.
No,
they still have drug tests to do, but he said he forgot to take his blood pressure medication. I didn't know people could pass out from not taking their blood pressure medication.
He did.
Well, he claims he did, yes. He claims he did. But the people, the relatives of the victims, are wanting his hide.
All right, let's talk to Ed here. Ed is in Munster and is a big fan of this movie. Ed?
The stupid movie?
Yeah, the stupid movie. Hi, Ed.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, I'm like WLS listener. And, I mean, I listen to most of the shows now. I even listen to George Norris. So you might maybe like, oh, God, watch out. So, what I'm getting at is, you're saying how it's like weird and wacky, but the thing is, he's come from Evil Dead 1 and 2, so it's like, okay.
Hold on a second. Let's explain what you're talking about, okay, Ed?
Okay.
You're
Bubba
talking
Ho-Tep.
about Bubba Ho-Tep.
Yeah.
The movie about Elvis
Yeah.
and JFK living together.
With Ozzie Davis?
Yes, Ozzie Davis is JFK. Bruce Campbell is Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
They're both elderly. Elvis is impotent, by the way, and they're in an East Texas
And that's important to know. Yeah, okay. So what is the reason you called, Ed, is...
The thing is, you're just saying, like, how it's like... I mean, without, like, wackiness, I mean, it's creative compared to what's coming out now. And the guy's got charisma, and this has his, like, best acting chops. And if you read the review continued longer, it says, like, he's one of probably the best, like, compared on the actors that played Elvis, like, looking, and he does, like, an okay job. And I read reviews on that, and I don't see why I'd like to knock it.
I'm not knocking it.
I mean, the thing is, y'all...
I brought it up. I said it's 3 stars.
Yeah, the guy...
I wouldn't have brought it up if I thought it wasn't worth mentioning.
But you have to also note, too, the same guy who reviewed the movie, he also wrote a Russ Meyer movie. So you have to expect some kind of weirdness right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you going to see this movie today?
I mean, if I could, I mean, if I had transportation, I would go, oh, yeah.
Well, there's transportation everywhere. Get outside.
Yeah, I mean, a mass trans in that, because I don't have a car, but that's...
Okay.
That's beside the...
Well, it'll be on DVD real soon.
Okay, well, the nursing home is terrorized with ancient bugs, and the cursed mummy steals souls by sucking them through the residents' bodily orifices.
All right, enough of that. Rick Bayless coming up next, 820 WLS.